This week at Shuuchin Academy, everyone's having a great time except for Ii no Miko as usual. And Sony Music Entertainment Japan is trying to make sure I join Ii no Miko on that boat, as they have issued a strike on my episode 7 review video. I mean, I'm fine with it, Sony, just give me a Miko and I'll happily wait until you're forced to drop your claims. Also, I'm not stopping my own student council just because you want to terrorize creators. Welcome everyone, this is GamerTalk Student Council. Sit down, put your legs on the table like Ishigami, and let's talk about Kaguya-sama Love is War Season 2 Episode 8. 3 skits this week, first one being quite the average one in my opinion, with Chika trying to assimilate Ii no Miko into the crew with some obviously terrible rule-breaking selfie activities. Second one being my favorite, with Shirogane and Shinomiya getting locked in the sports warehouse as they both think it's a ploy of the other. And third one being one of Hayasaka's most embarrassing moments in her life, as she has to escort Kaguya in the hospital during her examinations that she just cannot come to terms with. Of course, hit that subscribe button and bell icon for more content, and as usual, Kaguya-sama Love is War manga links will be in the description. Since we seem to be pretty much done with volume 8 of the manga, I'll put both volume 8 and volume 9 there, so if you wanna read all the skipped bits, you can still get volume 8, but if you wanna cruise ahead, volume 9 is the way to go. But without further ado, Ii no Miko wants to restrain herself. Well, what can I say? This was quite a lackluster skit in my opinion, and that negative opinion has nothing to do with the fact that Sony Music Entertainment Japan cannot restrain themselves as well as Miko can. The skit felt like it severely lacked focus. It wanted to do something with Ino, but then wanted to give Ishigami some focus, then switched over to Shinomiya and completely dropped everything else, etc. And it didn't have the usual bombastic nature that usually makes these skits with less individual focus stand out, and overall, this just fell flat for me. As I said in the intro, there were good punchlines, like Miko suggesting everyone should learn from Chika, Kaguya's face being called cute by Chika only for Ishigami to not be able to shut himself up before calling her ugly, etc. But yeah, nothing at all stood out for me in this portion, which is... Now that I'm writing this, I realize that this is quite the bummer to start the video with. But for those of you who are still around, let's move on to my favorite this week, the sports warehouse. Now, while this skit is my favorite, I have to say the Umbrella premise last season was pretty much running on the same concept, and I genuinely prefer that one in general. However, what makes this stand out is the fact that both Miyuki and Kaguya think it's a ploy of the other person that they are stuck in the shed. I wish they had played with this idea more instead of using Miko as a slapstick again like last week. I loved how cheerful they started the episode, trying to trick the other into letting their guard down, thinking it's their plan, and then slowly start to get frustrated at things taking so long. I wish they had taken it one step further, you know, after that, and make them actually realize there was no plan going on and that they were genuinely stuck there for good. And only then things would culminate into the romantic peak as they were frantically trying to get out, and then Miko would come in and catch/save them. Yeah, I genuinely enjoyed this skit, don't get me wrong, but I couldn't help but feel the escalation lacked build-up or an end point. I'm not even sure which of the two is the correct one here. They set up this both think it's the other's ploy concept and didn't actually play with it at all. It would be hilarious to see things go down just like the Umbrella skit, but this time instead of foiling the plan of the other, they would start realizing there is no ploy going on in the first place, and with each, you know, quote-unquote interrogating the other moment, they would get more and more panicky. I don't know, I just feel like this skit could have been legendary, but decided to be content with being good instead. The third one, this is gonna sound funny, but the weird doctor was the highlight of the episode for me, with Hayasaka dying of embarrassment being a close second. The art style and seriousness used on the doctor fit the scenes perfectly in my opinion. Like, yeah, sure, Kaguya being in denial of her feelings and trying to find something physically wrong with herself instead is kinda chuckle-worthy, but Hayasaka's constant embarrassment and Mr. Quack Doctor here ensured that I had a huge grin on my face throughout this skit. I really didn't have much to say about anything this week in this video, which circles back to what I said at the beginning of this video. It was a very rudimentary episode. Sure, the great thing about Kaguya is that even such a rudimentary episode is a good time. My problem was that nothing really stood out. It was filled with the usual bickering that is, yes, the baseline of every Kaguya episode, but it didn't build anything on top of that bickering like most of the great episodes do. Last week was a constant hit and miss for me. This episode just felt stale, only utilizing that baseline comedy and not having a memorable flair on that foundation. I'm not looking for every single episode to be a masterpiece, but a show as vibrant as Kaguya, I expect a certain memorable flair every week, rather than quote-unquote more of the bare minimum safety net kinda content. As for my favorite moment this week, it was the final scene of the episode, with Shirogane going all over Kaguya to learn what was wrong. The back and forth with him and the narrator was perfect. What was your favorite moment though, and what do you feel about these past two episodes? A couple people also shared the sentiments I had last week, so I'm curious how you guys feel about this week's episode. Did it feel a bit too bare bones to you as well? Either way, we do have a couple more episodes left, and while I'm definitely looking forward to the season finale, hoping it will end this season on a high note just like season 1, I do hope there's more great stuff in the remainder of this season aside from the finale as well. Either way, subscribe and hit the bell icon and we'll talk about them in the upcoming weeks as well, as we slowly prepare ourselves once again to switch back to Sword Art Online. Links to Kaguya-sama Love is War manga in the description. Huge thanks to all my patrons and channel members as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay cool.